Glory to God, welcome back into the channel. My name is Raul. Today I'm doing some beat making with the SmplTrek. I'm really excited because Sonicware just released a new update, version 2.0, and it brings some very useful features as far as sampling goes and some other stuff. So I'm gonna do my best to go over as much as possible and just give you my opinion on how I feel about what they're doing. And actually, just to be honest, I really like it. So this is exciting. Let's get right into it. All right, so I'm going to go over what I think are the most important updates, the things that I find most useful in this update. So number one, there have been some sampling improvements. So if we go function, record, this is our sampling screen. Now you'll see that it's different. I don't quite remember what it looked like exactly, but I do not recall having the ability to change your inputs. Prior to this, you'd have to jump around. So you'd press function and this little pencil icon to get your record source. And you can change your record source depending on what you're doing. Internal mic, stereo ends, USB. So now it simplifies that. So you're not jumping around as much. You can do it just from here. And then you have the option to normalize your samples just by pressing in the D knob. And then one of the most key things here is that it now has an option to autosave. So the way that the SmplTrek works is once you record a sample in, you have to save it before you can do any editing or before you can actually use it in your project. And why it works that way is because I believe there is no internal RAM on this. What this is doing is strictly like a disk streaming type of thing. So your SD card runs all your samples. And when you pull your SD card out, it actually won't even work because everything seems to be streaming. And that might just be my limited knowledge, but that seems to be its behavior. So you need to save things. So prior to this, after you record a sample, you would go in and you would give it a name, save it, and then you could start using it. But now you have an option to autosave by pressing this. You check a little box, and then it gives you an option of where to save to. So either you have project or pool. So if you want your samples saved within the project that you're working on currently, just leave it on project. But if you want to also be able to use these samples later in other projects, you select pool. And the way that it saves it, it names it something kind of generic like input 1 or input 1 and 2 or something like that. So it's a nice feature to have. And there is also another quick sampling feature, and I'll get to that in a minute. And I just wanted to briefly speak a little bit on what I think are the scenarios you would use one or the other. So I would use this sampling screen, for example, if I was sampling off a record, because I could just go ahead and play something here. And then if I want to like record a loop, I can kind of do that manually here. And then just stop that. I have options to load a screen, chop, or just hit done. So I will just go done. And if I go out, if I go to function, pool, sample, then I could go into projects, and then I'll find like my sample here that I just recorded. And we can see that it's been named input 014. So yeah, so just a generic name. And then you could later rename that if I wanted to. I could just go click on it and then go through here, rename, and then I can rename that. Okay, so now there's also another really cool feature. It's a quick sampling feature. So if I press and hold a pad that corresponds to a track, it will start recording, and then it'll give me the option to immediately put it on that track in a couple different ways. So the scenarios I feel like this is probably most useful is if I am recording an external source like a keyboard or guitar, and it would be a good way, I think, to record to your beat. So because you can actually play your sequence, say you already have some drums or some other parts already playing in the SmplTrek, you can press play and then you can use the quick sampling feature in order to record along to your sequence. So what I'm going to do, I don't have a sequence. I'm not necessarily going to play along to a sequence like I suggested, but I am going to record in some sounds from, let's say, an external source, external synth, not necessarily. I got scalar pulled up, and I'm going to just record in some chords. So as soon as I hit this quick sampling feature, it's going to recognize, it's going to do like an auto threshold thing. So as soon as the audio passes a threshold, it will start recording in. So I'm going to mute my mic out and record in these chords from Scalar. So there it is. Now I have an option of putting it on different types of tracks. So if you were recording to a sequence that you already had going in the SmplTrek, you probably select loop. In this case, I'm going to select drum so that I can chop up these chords and then kind of freely sequence them on what I'm doing. So to manual chop. So I got 5 chops. Hit next. And now we got them on pads here. All right, so now that we're, as you can see, we're automatically in a drum kit and I'm ready to go, I could start sequencing these chops that I just recorded in with the quick sampling. And now immediately you already see some new stuff going on here. One thing I was hoping to see is the ability to adjust your tempo inside this screen here so that I could, if I wanted to, if I had like a loop on a drum track, I could play that and tap it out. So now up here, using this knob, I can just go ahead and manually adjust my tempo, or I can tap it out by pressing. So very useful feature. I'm just gonna go down to like 77, for example. And then I could go ahead and sequence these chords in. First thing I'm gonna do is gonna turn these down, this whole track down a little bit. In here, because these chords, they were on auto normalize and they're pretty loud. Oh yeah, home, and then let's go back in here and go ahead and record in. Actually, one thing that I do want to do is let's just, and I'll show you a quicker way of doing this, but I can change the length and I'm going to go for 32. And let's go ahead. All right, so from here I want to jump out and I'm going to load a drum kit. So let's go ahead and start a drum kit. In here we'll see that I have access to preset drum kits, and I can switch them and scroll through them using knob C. And we actually have some new drum kits that were included with this update. One of them is this Ski Beats drum kit. So that's pretty dope. There's 3 new drum kits with this update. You got the Ski Beats, you have Cinematic Indian Percussion Kit, and GB drum kit. Not sure what that is, but it's in there, so take a look for yourself. Another cool thing is it has these preset patterns, so you can scroll through these patterns and it automatically puts them there in your sequence. So yeah, that's a pretty dope feature. I don't know if it's possible. It would be nice to be able to create my own patterns and export them and then have access to them here. It wasn't clear whether that is possible or whether it's just the presets that are created by Sonicware. I want to load in a drum kit that I created myself. So I would change this from presets up here using knob A to pool. And in the pool, I have a kit that I've created. So right here, I'm going to sequence something to my chords. But we have a bunch of new stuff in this edit window. So where my notes are. So if I click here, we have access to change the level, the pitch, the pan, and the send level for the effects on each one of these. So if I want to pitch this, can. And so I just have a little more freedom, flexibility on my drum kits. Clicking over, I got my sequence area. So now I can see the length of this particular clip. I believe it's called clips. So they kind of run independently. So my chords I had on a length of 32. By default, they're at 16. So I can easily change the length and it just multiplies it. So 1, 16, 32, easily like that. But I can just do 16 and then I'll show you something that's dope. We have a duplicate feature. so it'll just double up what I'm doing. So I could double the note length, and it copies that 16 again, and now we got 32. I don't like how that turned out, so I'm gonna do it one more time again. But one thing I forgot to mention is what we have is this new timing rec. So it's like a micro timing thing. The way the SmplTrek works is it's like it's step based, right? With the timing rec off, you have some swing capabilities, but I'm really loving this timing rec because it agrees with the way that I finger drum quite a bit. It's nice. So you can record like this, and it gives you somewhat of a like an unquantized feel, but then you could also go into the automation of that and then adjust it manually for each one of the notes. So if I click here one more time, we have automation, and then you can scroll through and change the automation of, you know, velocity. And here is our timing. There's a bunch of other stuff here, but I can go to the timing and then kind of just go through and select each note here, and then adjust that using, I believe it's, yes, the C. So you can really do some fine tuning and get your drums or whatever it is moving the way you want to. Say if you did something that was kind of off, you can go and adjust and see how it feels. All right, so I want to create another track. Let's do an instrument one so we can like maybe do a melody. And then of course here we also have presets that come with the SmplTrek, and I can go out actually if I want to select some other stuff. Go to sample, and I want to say load up some stuff some of my own stuff. Go to my packs, and in here, this vinyl instrument one-shot pack that I have available for sale. So it's just made up of a bunch of notes, single instrument one shots, pitched at C, so that you can play in pretty much any sampler. So I could just select whatever one, load, and then okay, and then from here, yeah, I could just scroll through some different ones. Another really cool thing that they added, simple but very useful, is if I hold function, we'll see the pads change from being playable to the tracks that I have currently. So I can go, I could just press any one of them, and then I'll move in between different tracks without having to go to the home screen and select a new one. So just another very efficient workflow thing that's added. So let's go here. I want to go into my chords real quick, and I want to pitch these. I want to put them in a different key. So I recorded these chords. I believe they're in C major. So let's go up to semitones. So now we'll be like in the key of D. I'll move back. So not in key necessarily. This isn't a version 2 update thing, but it's just something that's cool. Is we have scale mode, scale setting. So I can change my scale, put it in major, and then select what key I'm in. So I'm in D, and then go out. So pretty cool. And then it gives you the root. The root is always highlighted purple, and then the notes in the scale are white, and the ones that aren't playable in the scale, and I like that you can actually play them, are blue. So that's a useful thing. I like the way the scale setting is laid out. Real quick, I want to make another one, another instrument track, and let's do a bass. So I want to just pick whichever. Okay. Then I'm also have to put this in the scales. Put in D major. All right, so always got to remember to make these the same length. For me, at least, that's how I work. I want to make sure you don't have, you can use the duplicate, right? Pretty easy, or you can just turn this and just record in this little simple bass line. Bounce around. Yeah, so there it is. That's all I got for you as far as the update goes. There are some things I didn't go over, so if you want the full spec on the release notes, go ahead and head over to the Sonicware website and you'll find the update you can download for free and instructions on how to install it into your SmplTrek. Also, if you don't have a SmplTrek, you can buy units directly from the website there, and they come from Japan. That's what I did. $3.99. I think it was tax-free, free shipping. And it was here to California relatively quickly. Yeah, go check it out. It's dope. This is a really cool machine. I'm having a lot of fun with it. The workflow is nice. The capabilities are really nice, and it's a lot deeper than I've actually got into, but it's simple enough and easy to learn, I think, as far as my experience has been so far. So if you found some value in the video, please give it a thumbs up. That's the best way you can support the channel. It's absolutely free, of course. So if that's all you can afford, go ahead and do that. There are monetary ways you can support the YouTube channel by links in the description. You know, we got a ZZOUNDS wish list over there, everything I use. If you're thinking about purchasing something, whether it's something on that list or not, doesn't matter. Just navigate through that link and then purchase what you want, and then it helps out the channel. I get a percentage, no extra cost to you. I also have digital products. I demonstrated some of the sounds in a sample pack that I have here. It's one-shot instrument notes that are all sampled from vinyl, available in my spring store. Links in the description for that. Appreciate y'all. Till next time, God bless. And as I've always been saying as of recently, success is not a destination, it's an action. So run with your dreams. God bless. Peace.